Good morning, or maybe afternoon at this point. I think it's a little afternoon. This is Brian Hitzberger, your professor for art appreciation, and I'm here to talk about discussion number 11, which is the discussion topic for this week. The topic is the foreign and the familiar. Let's take a look. You've just finished reading and learning about the visual culture and culture of societies markedly different from our own. For many of us, due to the circumstances of our lives or limitations of our resources, reading about these places and persons in textbooks will likely be as close as we ever get to experiencing them. That said, I am certain that while you are reading and viewing this artwork, you recognized elements or aspects of these cultures that were in some way familiar to you, or echo your personal identification with your own culture, that is. This experience of finding the familiar in the foreign is a complex reality of globalization in the 21st century. So I want you to talk about this phenomenon of actually recognizing aspects of your own life or your own society in a place that is very different or very far or somehow removed from a place that you recognize and call your own. I'd like you to address three things. What is it that is comforting about finding the familiar in the foreign, and why? Please cite an example from your text. So cite an example of something that in your text was presented as foreign, but like it resonated with you, like you recognize some part of your life or your own experience or your own thinking in it. And then what is uncomfortable about finding the familiar in the foreign, and why? And then cite an example from your text in that too. So you're looking for two instances where you're seeing your own life reflected in somebody else's experience. And in one of those instances, it gave you a positive feeling. In another instance, it gave you a negative feeling. Okay? And talk about this and cite specific examples. And then the third, which is probably the most important aspect of this question, is what is the primary problems with using words like familiar and foreign? How do your answers to questions 1 and 2 inform your response to this question? So why are these distinctions between self and other so problematic? And I would like you to actually draw on the answers that you've given as a way to kind of extrapolate your own thinking on this topic. This is a really tricky question. This is probably the trickiest question that we have or have had all semester. But I also think that this is the most important discussion that we have in this class. Unfortunately, a lot of the work that we look at is very Eurocentric, and the kind of historical narrative that's presented in the book is somewhat linear and reductive in that sense. I mean, we could do a whole class on appreciation of Asian art. We could do a whole class on appreciation of Indian art. And it's tricky that so little of the text is actually devoted to so much of the world and so much of the world's history. So this discussion in some ways intends to make up for that. So please give it some thought. I'm really looking for a clarity of thought with this. And do take some time to prepare some notes and feel free to refer to them, okay? As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I actually am about to get back to some emails. Some of you have emailed me about the museum visits that are coming up, and I want to answer your questions about that. But thank you so much. I hope this finds you well, and I look forward to seeing your responses.